Before we begin on the 5 fluency skills mentioning information, media, and solution fluency, let's just look quickly at cloud computing. So they've added this into this because this has become part of our digital literacy as well. As you know, the cloud is more of our new generation sort of computer storage, delivering a lot of different computer services. You have to pay for the cloud on a monthly basis, and it's quite a flexible tool to use. And the cloud providers are Amazon, Microsoft, Google Cloud platform as well. They provide storage of your data and other services as well. Information and solution fluency. Now, the reason why these two fluency skills have been tied together is when you're looking online, you are searching information usually to solve a problem. So remember from our first learning unit, we talked about the 5 fluency skills. And the reason why we are focusing on this, it does tie back to your POE content for your portfolio of evidence, which you need to have as your assessment for this module. So you need to understand what these 5 fluency skills are. It's basically saying that when you are on technology, you are learning quite different lot of skills, such as being able to seek out information, being able to solve things, being able to collaborate online, being able to work different mediums and create content, and so on. And we'll get into all of them as well as we go along. So I just want to focus now on information fluency. So this is to interpret information, and this can also be quite a problem because when you are looking for information, you're going to experience infowhelm. And then as you're trying to find and interpret information, you're trying to see what exactly, how is this information going to solve my problem? So the two are interlinked like that. There's a lot of information out there, once again, just saying infowhelm, which is to say that a lot of information out there is useless to us. And this could be because they're not real websites, but because some information isn't really effective to what we need it to be. So how do we kind of sift through the process of the information fluency? There is a process, it is in your module manual, and it's just been put here quite nicely is ask good questions to get good answers. When you're looking through your Google search, try to use concise keywords and don't make it too wordy because then you'll get almost everything. So I know a lot of us panic and then we want to put the entire sentence in there. This is exactly what I'm looking for. But try to use concise words. Next is acquire. This is trying to determine where the information is. Try to skim and scan different documents. And you're probably going to be using this for your assignments as well. You can't use all the journal articles. Find what is applicable there and skim different abstracts is a good way to start. Next is analyze. The results of the search will yield raw information. You need to analyze what's out there, making sure that it is a credible research article, determine what is an opinion-based article. So this goes back to our website verification. Now we need to apply. The user will now be able to apply the knowledge to whatever they were trying to solve in the first place. And lastly, assess. The user will look at the result of their application and start to ask questions about the process and reflect on what they should do in the future. Okay, does that make sense? Still with me? Okay, fantastic. Let's then move on to solution fluency. So this is just saying that technology has changed quite a lot, and now we need to go online and try to find all the information out there. There's also new needs developed from our personal to business with new opportunities. And how do we prepare for careers that do not yet exist? So you can go and look at this, watch this video clip as well. But we need to learn new skills that can help us adapt to new opportunities. And this is all part of the solution fluency. Okay, so there's also a process which you can look through onto the next page. And it's also a part of the information fluency because we need to adapt to solve new problems that's embedded into the skill. A problem could be anything from learning a new skill, writing an essay, and so on. So firstly, define. Define the problem is probably the hardest part of this process. So what exactly do you need to do? Normally this is written as a statement, often called a hypothesis. So what exactly is identified as I need to solve this problem? If we have a clear understanding of the problem, we're now going to discover. We can be in the present, look at the past, and then consider how to get to this point. So how do we get here? What do we need to do differently? And dream. So this is part of more of an inspiration stage. Think of possible solutions for the future, anything that could be possible. Design. So the define tells us where we are now, and the dream helps us to guide us where we want to go, and the design becomes the planning how to make the solution a reality. Deliver. This step puts the design plan into action, the reality, and to produce and publish. And lastly, to debrief. This is the evaluation process of all the steps. Did you define the problem sufficiently, and so on. So we can always go through this as well as with your lecture to go through the stages once again. But they're just saying that they're breaking down the different sort of process of how the fluency skills could work. In the next part of your work, we have different website purposes and tools. You can see the list of the different websites and their purpose. And there's usually the 5 functions of a website. So when you're looking at your different websites, is it trying to provide you information? Is it trying to sell you something? Is it a business sort of website? Is it trying to communicate something, communication tool, trying to fill out different forms there, a marketing tool, and so on. So there's just things we need to consider when we're looking at our information out there. Now we're going to be moving on to media fluency. Media fluency, so they're saying here that technology has changed a lot from back in the day, and now we have digital technology that's producing so much out there. We can produce videos, audio content with complete ease. And the media fluency is twofold. So there is the interpretation, which is part of the listening, and the second step is how we leverage this for our own input through communication. The media fluency means being pro-consumer or prosumer, an effective consumer and producer of digital content, which is quite nice, that we get to be the ones creating the content. The process is listening and leverage. So within listening, we have message, verbalize, and verify. So message is involving the filtering out of noise like music and flashing lights, determine what the message is. Verbalize, being able to clearly and concisely verbalize the message that you need to give. And verify, how to analyze and authenticate the information presented to you. Okay, next is listening. Listening makes up media, form, flow, and alignment. Medium looks at how you present the information. Is it a website or a video? Form is looking at the visual mediums like the color scheme, the white space. Flow is, does the story have a flow or logical sort of progression of beginning to end? And alignment has the audience, the message, and the medium as all be in alignment and not be distorted. Okay, next we have collaboration fluency. This is being able to communicate to those over long distance. So you were all quite young, but back in the day, Facebook did not exist. So there was no way of really reaching other people except with a telephone. And, you know, you'd have to have your own turn and all of that. But nowadays, we can collaborate all the time online. We have Blackboard Collab or Skype as well. So there is this skill that's being developed more now through the collaboration fluency. And it also has its own process. Okay, let's look at this. So firstly, establish. So before collaboration can begin, you need to establish the key aspects, determine who is in the group, the roles and responsibilities, the scope, and so on. Then we have envision, define the problem, discuss the current situation, define the desired future. Engineer, this is to lead to a workable plan. Next is execute. This is parallel to solution fluency. We put the plan into action. And lastly, examine, to examine exactly, has our goal been achieved there? Okay, so we can always revisit this part of the work, and I do suggest that you go into your lesson plan and look at the videos that summarizes each one of these 5 fluency skills. Our last part of the work is digital footprint. Let's get started.